All right, guys, so welcome to another episode of Mind Show Publishers, where we live that passive income life one idea at a time. So today's video is going to talk about how to become recession proof. If you're watching the news or listening to the radio, you hear them talking about a recession that's actually coming. And basically, when a recession happens, prices of things skyrocket, but then you have companies that are laying off people, stocks are plummeting just like they're doing now. So we have the different things that are showing that a recession is on the rise. So what does that mean for you? What can you do to make sure that you can fare this recession, how long it may be, basically fare it the best way that you can? So think about it from a pandemic perspective. The same thing that happened in a pandemic, aside from, people getting sick, those are the types of things that happens in a recession. Also, you saw stocks fail, you saw people were out of work, people couldn't find jobs, but it was because of, people being sick and not knowing how to react to COVID. But with a recession, companies have to continue to make money the best way that they can. So what do? They start cutting what they consider are expenses. Sometimes that expense can be you. So with that being said, what can you put in place? And you should have thought about this after going through the pandemic. You saw how it impacted you. So if you were impacted hard, you lost your job, you might have been out of work for 6 months. Did you have to get money from the government? Or did you have an emergency fund that would have helped you if the government didn't? And not everybody was able to get support from the government. If they made a higher amount of money, they weren't able to. Now, people like that should have been okay during the pandemic. But if they didn't have things in place like what I'm going to talk about, they would have been impacted also. So I found an article that talked about different things that you can do during a recession. I will post the link for this below. They had 18 different items on here. I'm just going to talk about 7 that I thought were really good. But then you can look at the actual article to read about all 18 of the items. So one of the first things they have on here is to build a 12 to 24 month emergency fund. And I know that's a lot. Usually you hear 6 to 9 months, but when a recession comes, you don't know how long that's going to be. You don't know how long it's going to impact you. Just like we didn't know how long the pandemic was going to impact people. But you don't know if the government is going to bail people out like they did during the pandemic. They did provide, checks and money to people to help them get by. But in some cases, that still wasn't enough for some people. So I thought that was really good about build a 12 to 24 month emergency fund. And basically with an emergency fund, how you establish what 12 to 24 months is, what that amount is, it's basically looking at what are your expenses for a month. If you spend $3,000 a month to pay for your mortgage, your car payment, whatever it is, whatever it takes you to spend a month, thinking about if you have car insurance, homeowners insurance, if you have health insurance, whatever type of bills that you have, what does that add up to in a month? Take that and multiply it times the amount that you want to save for your emergency fund. So if it's 12 months and you spend $3,000 a month, so basically you basically have to have $36,000 to end up having a good emergency fund in there. Now I know $36,000 is going to be a lot for a lot of people, but it's all about securing some amount in there. What you don't want to do is to be hit by an emergency during the pandemic or during a recession and you don't have any money to cover for it. So my suggestion is save what you can, but that is a very important thing regardless whether we have a pandemic or recession. If an emergency pops up in the normal BAU process, you need to have money that you can take from an emergency fund to pay for it. So that was one. That was the number 1 item. The next thing it talks about is minimize high interest debt. So if you're in debt and you have credit cards that have a high interest rate, or you have a mortgage or a car payment, anything that has a high interest on it, you need to figure out how you can get that interest lower. Hopefully you took advantage during everything that was going on with COVID, with the low mortgage rates that were out there. Hopefully you refinanced your home, and it didn't matter if you had just refinanced. I refinanced in 2019, and I had a 3.125 interest. I thought that was excellent. But I refinanced in 2021 and I got a 1.75 interest. So a very big difference, in what I had before to what I have now. So that's a good thing that you want to do. Look at whatever you may have that has high interest, and if you're able to consolidate your debt, if you're able to get a different credit card that has a lower interest, you want to do that, because having to pay high interest during a recession when you're already impacted from a financial standpoint will not be good. Okay, the next thing is keep your credit accounts live. And I know some things you're going to look at, they're going to say you shouldn't have credit cards. That's how you got in debt in the first place, if you are in debt. But the thing is, you need to have something that can give you some extra money if you get in a certain situation. I would suggest making sure that you pay your credit cards off if you can. But if you can't, you still want to be in a situation where you have a lower interest rate. So you may end up getting a different credit card. You may consolidate everything onto one credit card to make it easier. One credit card is a 15% interest. Another one is only 3% interest. Consolidate those. And also look at credit cards to see which ones may have they give different deals, to transfer money to one credit card is usually like a year, and they'll give you 0% interest on money that you transfer. Look at doing something like that. You got to be creative when it comes to some of this. I'm not telling you to go and open up any credit cards. I'm just saying, if you already have credit cards that are there, consider, consolidating or doing money transfer to save on that. For those of you who are not in debt and you don't have credit cards or anything, this may be a good time to get a credit card. If you're really good with money and you don't really need to have a credit card, looking at it from a recession standpoint, it just helps you be better prepared. I do have credit cards. I have business credit cards and I have personal credit cards. But I use my credit cards effectively. My personal credit cards, I got a Bank of America travel rewards card, and then I have a Hilton American Express. Both of them give me things that I can utilize to get free travel or free vacations. I have free hotels because I am a Diamond member. I have 500,000 in travel reward points that I can use at any hotel. And then on my travel card, I have about 22,000 points that I can use on airline tickets or gas or hotels also, whichever one I want to use it for. But I only buy things on those credit cards that I'm already going to buy. So my bills, I'll pay different bills on those credit cards, and then they're automatically paid off with my accounts. I have everything on auto pay. It just makes it easy so that you don't get in a situation where you miss a payment. So those are so far 3 items. The next one is buy in bulk. If you do not have a Sam's card or a bulk warehouse type store, this is a good thing to do, especially when you're looking at things like a recession, buying things like toilet paper or paper towels, things that you're going to need anyway. Why not get a discount on them and buy them in bulk? When it comes to other things like food, you should buy during a time like this, frozen vegetables. You can get them in bulk, and then you can put them in Ziploc bags to separate. It's just little things like that can save you money. Do not buy anything that you wouldn't normally buy just because you want to store stuff away. If it's not something that you normally eat or you normally use, don't go and do that. I'm just saying, for things that you're going to need and things that you can save money on, always think about buying in bulk from one of the bulk supply warehouses. The next thing is invest in recession-proof industry. So if you're a person that buys stocks, hopefully you're not panicking right now, because if you're like everybody, your stocks have plummeted. But if you're good at what you're doing with buying stocks, you know the stocks that you have are going to go back up. My 401k has lost, the last time I checked, it was like 100,000 that I had lost out of my 401k. I don't know what it is now. I'm not worried about it because I know it's going to go back up. It went down in 2019. When the pandemic started, it dropped $80,000. By the end of the year, I had more in there than I had before the pandemic started. So I know it was going to come back. One thing that I took advantage of during the low turn with the stocks, I bought more stocks. I bought stocks that I'm used to and I know are good. So I bought Starbucks. I bought Nike. I bought Walmart. I bought things, Mobil Oil, things that I know they're going to come back. Where Starbucks is not going to close down. Nike is not going to close its doors. Those types of things. I buy stocks I'm familiar with. Apple, I wear an Apple watch. I have an Apple, phone. I wear Nike shoes. So I buy blue chip companies that I know are going to stand the test of time regardless of what's happening. So those are things that you can look into. Invest in that if you are an investor. If you have not invested before, you need to do some research, do some legwork, look at some different videos, learn about the stock market. Don't invest because I'm telling you to invest, because I'm not an expert on that. I just know what I do in mine. And these are things that can help you, because once things start going back up, so will your portfolio. All right, so the last two things. One is resell your stuff that you may have. If you're in a position where you look in your attic or your different areas and you're like, I need to have a yard sale, this is a good time to do it. Go out and sell the different things that you have. You can go to a consignment store, or you can post them yourself on eBay, Mercari. There's so many different places out there that you can resell your items and get money for, especially if it's just sitting in your attic. I am an Amazon seller. I actually have white label products, so they're my own specific products. But I do have things that I will resell. If I find something on clearance that I think will sell well, I do it. I scan it, I see if it'll sell, I go out there and sell it. But in my house, I've had things like books that I have resold that I no longer read, or I now have it in a ebook fashion. I'll sell those on Amazon. They sell really well on Amazon for books. But you can also sell them on eBay. It just depends. So think about that. Scour your house, see what you got. Go out there, resell some items. No point in keeping your house junked up if you don't have to. And then finally, the other thing, and I hope you took advantage of this during the pandemic, is enhance your market value. If you are a person that loves to learn new things, during the pandemic, if you did not learn something new or you didn't do something different to enhance your skill sets, you missed out, because so many of us were working from home. And what is the one thing people always say they don't have enough of? It's time. Oh, if I had time, I would learn how to code. Oh, if I had time, I would learn how to publish books on Amazon. Oh, if I had time, I would do this. Well, if you were working from home and that wasn't the normal way that you used to work, you gained some time. Because myself, I gained 2 hours for each day, because it takes me an hour to get to work and an hour to get home. I worked from home for 18 months. So what did I do? I published some books. I had some new products that I started selling on Amazon. I created 2 websites. My husband started his own business. So there was a lot of things that we took advantage of during the actual pandemic. And if you heard that, it's because someone's at my front door. So I apologize for that. But we took advantage of all of those things during the pandemic. So hopefully you can do that. Enhance your market value. Learn how to do something else. Learn a new skill. Learn a new language. anything that can help enhance you, especially if you want to get a different job in corporate America. Maybe you want to learn how to program. Maybe you want to get certified in, Six Sigma or quality or, any type of thing that they have certifications for. And a lot of companies are paying for those things now. Take advantage of those. And that's another thing you can do. Look at your company to see what do they offer for payment on going to school. If your company will pay for it, why not do it? Why not take advantage of it? So that is the final thing. So those are the 7 items. Like I said, there are 18 items on here. I will post it so that you can actually look at the entire list. It is a great list. But again, those 7 things I said: build a 12 to 24 a month emergency fund, minimize high interest debt, keep your credit cards active just in case you need them, buy in bulk, so the Sam's Club or whatever your bulk purchasing warehouse is, invest in recession proof industries. So if you purchase stocks, go out and buy more stock in the Amazons, the Googles, the Apple, the Nike, the blue chip things that are going to rise again. And then the final 2 things: resell stuff that you may have in your house, and then enhance your market value. Those are things that you should do regardless of whether we're in a pandemic or going into a recession. Those are things that you can always do, and it can help you be in a better position regardless of what happens with the economy. So hopefully that helped you guys out. I know there are things that I really loved on this list. I think you're going to love looking at the entire list also. But let me know what type of things that you learned going through the pandemic that you are doing better now, so that you're not caught off guard if we go into the recession. Write down below what those things are. I'm sure other people would like to know them also, and we're all in this together. My goal is to try to help you stay on track or get ahead of where you want to be so that you can be successful. Thanks again for joining Moncho Publishers. Catch us on the next video.